What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nasty Podcast. It's your boy Nasty coming at you with another episode. And this time it's a very special episode because we have a special guest. I got my good friend Petter, who has his own podcast about Attack on Titan called Titan Teatime. He's going to be joining us and we'll be talking about the most recent episode of the Attack on Titan anime, season 4, which was titled, Petter, help me out a bit.
Oh, some a Door of Hope or something like that, I
Door
think.
of Hope, exactly. There you go. Thank you. Um,
Yeah.
so Petter, why don't you go ahead and say hi and introduce yourself?
Right. Yeah. As you said, yeah. My name's Petter, and I host another Attack on Titan themed podcast called Titan Tea Time, where we covered the new manga chapters every month. Like as soon as they come out, we try to spit out a video or an episode as soon as we can, and it's on a YouTube channel called Umami Manga, which is basically at least what it's recently become. Is I'm running it with a couple other people involved, but it's a manga podcast channel basically, and so the
Mhm.
Attack on Titan podcast is part of that sort of. So yeah, that's what I'm doing on YouTube and Spotify and whatnot.
Right, right. I've already told Petter, but I'm really excited to have this episode and this discussion with him. Me and him often talk on Discord. I listen to his show often. So we're both well versed in our SNK knowledge. And it's going to be a great episode. It should be a fun ride.
I'm
Just
really excited. I just want to mention real quick. I was really
yeah.
flattered when you reached out to me about having me on your podcast. I didn't know about it obviously before that, but as soon as I checked it out, like I really enjoyed your style, and I was very happy to come on for this episode.
I'm so happy to hear that, Petter. On this episode, we're gonna talk, like I said, about the recent episode in season 4. Give you our reactions, thoughts, and this will be without spoilers. So it'll be anime only friendly. Everyone will have a chance to enjoy this. But maybe towards the end we'll get a chance to get into some spoilers and into the manga, because, like I said, me and Petter know a lot about that as well. How's
Yeah,
that sound, Petter?
sounds really good.
All right. So starting in obviously this episode focused mainly on Reiner and Petter. I know that's your boy.
He is.
So you want to give just some initial thoughts right out the gate about the episode?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, Reiner has been my favorite character since this arc, like in the manga. I think I started becoming kind of interested in him in the Clash of the Titans arc, and he's kind of
Yeah.
been like just like some kind of intrigue there. But then obviously with this arc, I just fell in love with this character. It's just he's so like getting to know him on that deep level was really like interesting to me. And so I'm really happy to talk about this episode specifically with you here, because like these flashbacks in the manga, they're actually spread out a little bit in the manga, but uh,
Yeah,
they
they
were
condensed it a little bit.
they condensed it a little bit, and they also put it all into one chunk, sort of, because I think it happens like on two or so occasions, like with a little bit of real, like present day stuff in between. I think in the manga,
Yeah.
but anyway, I liked it the way they do in the manga, but I also really liked it the way they did in the anime here, like putting it all together into one episode, condensing it as you said. I really enjoyed that kind of way to depict it as well.
Yeah, I agree. You kind of already got into it, but I think these episodes, and in addition to the manga as well, but just speaking for the anime, is doing a really good job of helping you sympathize with Reiner more and
Mm.
understand him better.
Yeah.
As we see, like, the talk that his mom was giving him at the beginning, as well as all of the flashbacks and his upbringing to be a warrior. We start to understand that side of him a lot more than we did in the first 3 seasons. Uh, and we also can see like why it is that he wants to do these things. So his motivation,
Right.
and it makes him a much more, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a more complete, rounded character.
Totally. Yeah.
And he could easily be the main character of this season and this arc. You know what I mean? The way things have started out.
Totally. I would actually like easily say that if there is one character that is the main character of this arc, it's Reiner.
Right.
That's how
I
I feel
agree.
anyway.
No, I agree, and I know you're happy about that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like part of the reason why the Marley arc is my favorite arc of the story.
Yeah. I agree. I think the Marley arc is probably the best to me.
Mm.
You also see like a lot of the brainwashing that was done to Reiner through
Right.
Marley propaganda, and some of that is because of his own mother, but as well as just the society that he's living in.
Yeah.
And again, that's just another thing that helps us understand his character more and not just see him as, oh, that guy that broke down the walls a couple years ago.
Totally. Yeah.
And
Seeing it like that scene from like episode 1 of the anime, from from Reiner's
yes,
and
exactly.
that is so powerful, because you really understand like these are like 12-year-old kids, or like 12-year-old kids. Like it's so awful for them like as well.
And we didn't know that at the time when we were watching the first episode. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
so it's such a new way to look at it, because you're basically watching the first episode of the anime, but through Reiner's perspective, or
Yeah.
and all the warriors as well, Bertolt, Annie, but specifically Reiner.
Totally. Yeah. I actually had a thought about that when I watched this episode. I was like, I wonder what it would be like if someone who didn't know anything about Attack on Titan watched this episode. Like this was where the
Mm.
first thing they ever saw. Like I mean, obviously there would be a couple of like things they wouldn't understand probably, but like I still think it would be an interesting experiment, kind of, to like just find some friend who has some kind of interest and just show them this episode first. Just see.
Yeah, no, I might have to try that.
Yeah. I think I'd be really interested to hear about like how kind of how that would affect their view on the story as a whole if they started there and then kind of went like in the normal order.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, because this episode is such a information heavy episode, and you're learning so many new things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna actually bring that up. For someone who is just watching the anime and doesn't know about all this yet, I feel like it definitely brings them up to speed. This episode in particular, like with all the background and backstory, and then the profiles on each of the shifters, which I love.
Yes, that was so well adapted. I loved like the aesthetic, like how that looked, how they like got in like the like paper files of like the warriors and the
Yep.
oh, it looked so cool.
Definitely. And like we said, some things were cut out from the manga, not to get into anything specific, but they also added things that weren't in the manga. So it's kind of a fair trade-off, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. Like they made it work. Like it's still comprehensible. They didn't take away anything that made it so you wouldn't be able to follow along or anything like that. So I think they adapted it well. And I actually, well, at first I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't just dedicate the whole episode to Reiner's flashbacks, because at the very end of the episode there's like this little bit with Falco and well, are we allowed to say? I mean, I guess it was obvious in the episode, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, and that part, yes, we know who that was. We can say that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Eren. Like that bit. At first, I was like, man, I wish they hadn't had that and just been able to just kind of take their time a little bit more with Reiner's flashbacks instead. But
Yeah.
then I thought about it some more, and I rewatched the episodes one or two more times, and I kind of actually liked the idea that ending the episode with that scene with Eren there, because we also had like before the opening sequence, opening music, we had this callback to Eren when he's a kid looking up in the sky, just wishing something would happen.
Yeah, another great scene.
Right. Yeah. So I really liked the way that kind of tied the episode together, having like Eren at the beginning and also Eren at the end, although two very different Erens, obviously.
Exactly.
I thought like putting those in the same episode like that was really, I thought that was really clever.
Yeah, I mean, that basically overlays like what's going on. There's two different sides of this conflict. You know what I mean? You got the people within the walls, but then everybody in Marley, or the Eldians from Marley.
Right.
And this season in particular is going to have to do a lot to help the viewers understand Marley's viewpoint, as opposed to just viewing them as the automatic villain.
Right.
Because, you know, Marley's not going to have 3 seasons to develop that the way the Scouts did. They're all going to have to do this in this season. So how do you feel about the pacing so far? I know you brought up how they structured the flashbacks a little bit, but is it going well for you so far, or what do you think?
I don't think everyone would agree with me, but I do like when, like, obviously I don't want the pacing to be too fast, but I generally prefer a somewhat faster pacing, because looking back at especially season 1, but also season 2 to a degree, I think sometimes they felt like they dragged on a little bit too much. I mean, I love them, but especially season 1, a little bit in season 2, because those were, I think they did basically they turned 4 volumes into 12 episodes.
Yeah, you're right.
Back then, but now they're turning 4 volumes into 8 episodes. Probably is at least by the pace they've been going, because they've been doing roughly like half a volume per episode so far.
Right.
So it's definitely a faster pacing, and some might say it's too fast, but personally I like it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know you said a lot of people might not agree with you, but I agree with you, Petter. I think the pacing so far has been really good. And like, try to put yourself in the shoes of the anime onlys who are seeing this for the first time. When we were reading this, we didn't have it going by this quick. We had to wait months, you know what I mean, to find out the next bit of information. So they're getting it a lot quicker than we did, but like you said, I think it works. It works because they're giving you like just what you need, and then dropping like that one piece of information that's key, usually at the end of the episode.
Totally. But I think that's always kind of the case with, you know, comparing manga to anime. Like, even if they do take their time a lot more, you know, going by a slower pace in the anime adaptations, even then I feel like, as you said, you know, as a manga reader, we have to wait much longer between chapters and stuff like that, and we can really take our own time while we read the chapters, you know. It's always going to be a different experience, I think, regardless of the pacing, sort of. Because I remember when I went back and started reading the manga after I actually didn't start reading Attack on Titan until right after season 2 had finished airing, but after that season was over, I decided to go back and start reading the manga from the beginning, and you know, up until wherever it was at the time. But anyway, back then when I started reading through the Trost arc at first in the manga, I realized obviously it's very much the same thing, but being able to take your time more and just kind of get immersed in a different way, I feel, in manga, because you can really see, I don't know.
No, I agree. I see what you're going. I see what you're getting at. It's definitely a little bit more ambiguous and up to the reader to kind of to make up what's happening. Whereas in the anime, it's a lot more straightforward what kind of picture they're trying to paint.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, because I started reading the manga when I finished all 3 seasons.
Oh yeah.
And I just couldn't wait to know what happened next. So I started reading at chapter 91. Right. And then got up to date. And then I went back and read the manga from the actual chapter 1. And yeah, it was a completely different experience, even though it was obviously the same story.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, like I already mentioned at the beginning, I had a lot of disdain for Reiner, just based off of what he did and what was going on at that point in the story. But as I got into these arcs, reading them, I really started to understand his character more. And now that I'm seeing it in anime, I'm kind of going over to the Reiner side a little bit.
Yeah. I'm so happy to hear
like it. As much as I don't want to like Reiner, it's like I do. He's a really great character, and his development is just as good as Eren. He's a great foil for Eren.
Yeah. I actually noticed, or I mean, it was the same thing. The same scene happened exactly, pretty much the same way in the manga, where in the beginning of the episode, where um, Porco or Reiner and Porco get mad at each other, and Porco punches Reiner.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
when, because Porco is saying that Reiner's the only one that, well, he's the weakest one, basically.
yeah. He's mad Reiner got chosen instead of him.
No, no, I mean, before that, like before anyone is actually chosen.
Okay.
There's a scene like that where Porco punches Reiner to the ground, and Reiner gets really mad before he's punched. He gets really mad and like almost kind of threatens to call the authorities on Porco, because he says that Porco isn't loyal to Marley or.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
You
remember.
remember?
Sorry, Zeke is there too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
A
exactly.
younger Zeke. Yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, so in that scene, when we see like Reiner getting really mad at Porco there and like shouting at him to, well, yeah, it's the same thing in the manga, but I think with the added voice acting to it, it really resembled, or to me at least, it really reminded me of back in the first arc of the story, where like right after Shiganshina and while Maria has fallen, and
Yeah,
uh, Eren and Armin and Mikasa like they just arrived inside Wall Rose, and there's these soldiers that are being kind of mean, I guess, and Eren kind of loses it with them, and he starts screaming at them, and I think they punch him to the ground.
yeah, yeah.
It just reminded me of that a lot. Like for some reason, like with the anime here, I think it was like the voice performance just had like a very similar kind of vibe to it.
Well, yeah. I'm now that you bring it up, I didn't notice that, but yeah, it is very reminiscent of that scene earlier with Eren,
Mm,
kind of getting mad at the soldiers.
right. I thought
Yeah.
it
I
was
mean,
a fun, I guess, connection between Reiner and Eren there.
absolutely. And another one is when you were still on the flashbacks. When Reiner thinks back to when he helped Eren, or he basically gave him like words of encouragement,
Mm.
and then he tells him like, you're the one that's supposed to drive out all the Titans. I know you can do it. And then it switches back to him putting the gun in his mouth.
Oh my god, yeah.
I which I thought was also the cinematography there was done excellently.
It
Although it's a gruesome situation, obviously.
Right, yeah, no, but they like I think they adapted it really well. I thought, um, oh sorry, yeah, oh yeah. So when Falco comes, he like slams on the wall with
Yep.
his fist, and like they add this like thud kind of, like the moment it looks like Reiner pulls the trigger, and we hear this thud from Falco punching the wall, and like that like that kind of deep kind of bassy thud just really like it like almost like stopped my heart. Like it was really really powerful, and like it really felt for a moment like Reiner did pull the trigger. Obviously I knew he wouldn't, but it worked really well. I think it was a really
Yeah.
cool addition right there.
Yeah, definitely. I think watching the anime versus reading it, I actually had some feeling like he might do it in the anime.
Yeah, right.
Like it felt so real. So I definitely commend them for doing that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that scene always gets to me. Like whether I'm reading it in the manga or watching it here in this new episode, it's like it's so like emotional, and like it always kind of brings a tear to my eye, because it's because it's got like a really like I think it's a pretty beautiful like good message right there, because basically, at least the way I interpret it, is that that scene is saying that no matter how dreadful your life might seem, there's always something, like there's always a reason to keep living.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's I think that's a good thing for a lot of people to just keep in mind, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think just like Reiner, sometimes it takes you being like in your lowest moment to actually be able to see it.
Right, yeah, yeah, totally.
Um, I definitely want to still talk a little bit more about Reiner before we move on. But
Uh-huh.
one of my favorite moments that I was glad that they did adapt it and didn't cut it out was when Reiner is flashbacking, but he now joins the training corps. And I'm pretty sure it's Shadis that asks him like, "Why are you here? Or what are
Yeah,
you here to do?"
yeah.
And then he says, "I'm here to save humanity."
Oh,
And I just loved that because it's like he's not lying. From
oh no,
Reiner's perspective, he's not lying. He's not saying it to be like some, you know what I mean, some insidious guy. He
yeah,
really thinks that what he's doing is going to save humanity. And that was just so powerful for me. Another foil for Eren who wants to save the world the way he thinks he can.
right, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really really fun to find these little connections, and it kind of makes me wish that back then, back when they were actually in the training core, and when when the shot is seen, it would have been so cool if that would have actually been in that scene. If shot is
Yeah, yeah, that would have been
right
awesome.
there. Although, I guess if they ever remake it again, which I don't expect them to do, but just if, then I guess they could add that. But but
Yeah,
yeah,
no, definitely, definitely. And again, yeah, that just goes to my point from earlier is we're definitely understanding Reiner in a much greater sense than before.
right.
I also loved seeing the little interactions he had with Annie and Bertolt when they were younger. Kind of shows that they viewed him a lot differently, and he's kind of just playing the part of Marcel, who was eaten by Ymir, obviously.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so that really does a good job of explaining, at least to me, like why they interacted with Reiner in certain ways in the earlier seasons. Like now it makes sense. I can see it through a new light.
yeah.
Eh,
That whole thing is really interesting. Like, well, Reiner basically taking on the personality and identity almost of Marcel.
yeah, yeah. You need Marcel? I'll be Marcel.
Oh, that scene, like Reiner and Annie are fighting, and Reiner is saying that, and Bertolt is just standing there crying. He's asking,
Yep.
"Please stop." Like, oh, that's so such a sad scene. Uh but it's so, yeah, that was really well adapted too. I was so happy with how they did that.
Yeah. I really like that scene. Like James was actually talking about it in Discord, but I like the scene when Annie's like squishing on the bug
Oh
and they
yeah,
ask her like what she thinks, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, I wasn't even listening." She just runs off.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
just so Annie.
It is. I really loved Annie in this episode. Actually, I'd probably say, like, she would probably be my number two for this episode if I had to
Mhm.
like I guess put the characters in any kind of order. She would be my number two because I really enjoyed seeing her kind of express herself more than we saw like back in season one.
Yeah, good
You know,
point. Good point.
especially like when she's telling Reiner to move his face away from hers because
Yeah.
I'm gonna bark. Like those sorts of things. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I agree. Seeing another side of Annie was awesome, given how long it's been since we've seen her in general.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
And Annie's one of my favorite characters, so
Yeah,
I'm always down for more Annie.
totally. Yeah, yeah, she's awesome.
I'm pretty sure you've talked a little bit about it already on your channel and stuff, but
Mm.
I just want to get the chance to talk to you about it now that you're here. What are your first impressions of Gabby and Falco in the anime?
Ah, okay. I definitely like them. Gabby, I think especially. I think the voice actress for Gabby really like
Yes.
fits so well for her character, and like the way she delivers those lines, it's perfect. Like it's completely the way I envisioned Gabby to sound, and like she's got that sass and the yeah, it's just everything about that has been really really good. Um, like I really enjoyed her in the first two episodes. I mean, obviously she wasn't in this one, but uh, really enjoyed her in those. Falco, I definitely don't dislike him, but I do have one minor complaint about the way they've done Falco in this season,
Okay.
and that is his voice. Actually,
Mm.
like the guy who voices him, I mean, sure, he's a good actor. He does a good job, I guess, but I, he's an adult man, the guy who voices him, and I do think he sounds like an adult man when he voices Falco, and that kind of feels weird to me since he's supposed to be a 12-year-old boy. But I guess it's a nitpick.
Well, no, I can definitely see that. I mean, it wasn't something I really picked up on when I was watching it, but now that you mention, I can see it.
Right.
I guess for me, like Gabby stole the show. Her voice actor is
Yeah.
amazing, definitely.
Mhm.
Um, but then even like for me, Falco is just somebody that I don't really. It's not that I don't care about him, but I'm just not a big fan of Falco.
Aw.
So like I get how important he is to the story, and like you and me know what's gonna come, but
Right.
I don't really have many thoughts about Falco. So it was something I kind of just seen as an afterthought
Mm.
personally.
I really did enjoy him in this arc, like in the Marley arc. I really did enjoy Falco's character. I didn't love him as much after this arc. I'm not gonna go into that obviously, but yeah, for the Marley arc, I really did enjoy his character. But and you know, I still like the way he is in the anime. I think his voice could have possibly had a more fitting, I guess, voice actor.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, going back to just the episode in general as we progress through it, most of it was about Rhinos flashbacks and his time, going from a young Marleyan candidate to actually inheriting the armored Titan, going to parody. They encountered a pure Titan who ate Marcel, but they were still able to breach the walls and get inside. And then everything played out as we saw. But after that, you have this scene with Falco running off and he passes by a hospital.
Right.
And this is the moment where my boy comes in. We got to talk about your boy. Now we're going to talk about my boy.
Yes. All right.
So
Let's see.
Eren is back. I know we already talked about it earlier, but he's officially back. And technically, he had already appeared in the last episode, but that was a lot more ambiguous.
Definitely.
And I think it was intentional. Like they didn't want us to know that was Eren unless we were manga readers and already knew.
Yeah.
And I think that was excellent. So what do you think about the conversation he had with Falco? He had some like a really deep quote right there that he said.
Definitely, yeah. Like a lot of really insightful things, I think. Well, obviously, he's talking about freedom and being able to move forward, like very, very Eren kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's right up his alley.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed the voice performance of the guy who voices Eren there, because he doesn't sound anything like the young Eren that we know.
Right?
From
Yeah, nothing. You wouldn't be able to tell by just the voice.
Right, yeah, because he's such a different energy to it, and just yeah, he just he sounds as broken as he looks, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
that
It's kind of
really
scary.
it is. It's so well done. I really really liked that, and as I said before, like I really like the fact that this reveal happened in the same episode that they put the flashback to Kid Eren.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's like we got to see Eren grow up in this episode too, just through the flashbacks, though.
right, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I really, really thought that was like such a hype moment to see that here.
When you were reading this in the manga, how soon did you pick up on that it was Eren?
I I think it was this exact moment,
This exact moment?
because I think in the manga it's basically just as obvious. I think. Um,
Yeah, once he starts saying the stuff about freedom and moving forward, like
right.
the image becomes very clear that it's Eren because now you get to see like a full shot of his eye and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was very in line with how the anime did it.
Right. And so yeah, so I think basically once you're able to see his full eye, that's basically like a hard confirmation that yeah, that's Eren, because I think most people will be able to recognize those eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will be honest, I
Definitely.
did not like when I was reading the manga the first time. I did not suspect that guy to be Eren until that happened, like until we saw his eye. I didn't have any suspicions about that at all back when I read it the first time.
Right, yeah, me neither. I'm in the same boat. Just like with the last episode when Falco actually first met him,
Mm,
I didn't know that was Eren when I was seeing that in the manga.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that
Um,
I mean that was really really well handled in both, like both the manga and the anime. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Did
So
you have?
now, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, did you have any like? Was there anything in this episode that you felt could have been done better, or that you wish had been done differently? Like any kind of nitpicks or things you just didn't like, perhaps?
Um, I guess like there wasn't much I didn't like, to be honest,
Mhm.
but I do have a little bit of a nitpick, and it just goes back to things they didn't include that were in the manga.
Mm.
I would have really liked to see the scene when Annie's running with Reiner and Berto towards the wall
Oh yeah,
before they actually get there. Yeah, I would have loved to see that and then see her getting tired and have to switch with Reiner.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
really small detail, but you know.
Right. And actually going along with that, like, and I agree that that would have absolutely been really nice to see. I don't think it was crucial. Like, I'm cool with it not being there, but I definitely agree. It would have been really nice to see that. And my one nitpick really with this episode was when they do break through the walls and we see that little piece of the scene. I mean, we have Reiner's like monologue going on top of that, but
Yeah.
when that happens, they actually use like old animations, like the old footage from episode one or episode.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, is that it looks like it was replayed footage, but I wasn't entirely sure. So it is footage from season one.
Yeah, or at least I'm like 99% sure of it because it so yeah, so don't quote me. I don't know for a fact, but I'm like 99% sure because it definitely seems like it was. Um,
Okay.
so when they shifted, I mean, it was like the armored titan sprinting toward the gates, you know,
Right, right.
was basically. Um, when they shifted from the new footage to the old footage, it didn't feel that jarring to me. Like I thought it flowed pretty naturally. I didn't initially really notice it, but after like after they were done showing the old footage, there's like one shot of the colossal titan from the front, and that's like the new like that's new like. And I think that's a CGI made colossal. Sorry, did I say colossal titan? Uh, armored titan.
Armor time, yeah.
Um, and you see him from the front, and that shift going from the old footage to the new footage, like from the 2D animated armored titan to the CGI animated one, seeing him from the front, seeing his face, kind of that I thought felt a little bit jarring, like a bit too like it took me out of the experience a little bit too much.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, that did make it look a little wonky now that I'm like picturing it.
right. But yeah, like that's really just a small nitpick, and it's the only complaint I really have for this episode.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, this was a solid episode all around, I think. To me, it was the best one of season three so far. I know it's still incredibly early in the season, but I think I can have a lot of confidence with saying that this episode was done extraordinarily well.
It really was. I agree. And I think I'm also maybe a little bit biased because seeing Reiner's flashbacks was like one of the things I was the most excited to see animated. Uh, but still, yeah, they really did it well, and I can agree. It's definitely the best episode of the season so far.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, now I think is a good time where we can start getting into a little bit of spoiler territory.
All right.
Since we've covered most of the episode.
Yes.
So I'll give a spoiler warning now. Give you guys like 5 seconds to jump off. Go do what you need to do, and then come back so you can have this conversation and dialogue with us. Um, but yeah, Petter. Next episode, we know what's going down. Oh, we have a pretty good idea of what's going down.
Right. Yes. So yeah, I mean, we know we will get the festival. We'll get Willie Tyler.
Hmm.
Um, I think a lot of people, from at least from what I've heard, people talking about it, a lot of people seem to think that the episode is going to end basically like this volume ends, if I recall, with Falco leading Reiner down to the cellar where Eren is sitting, and
Yeah.
like ending there. But I actually looked into that a little bit, and I realized if they do that, they're I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, and it's probably going to happen. But if they do that, they will only cover about 1.5 chapters.
Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right because I noticed that same thing when I was rereading some of the manga.
Uh huh. Yeah,
They stopped about halfway in this last episode, and then that'll be the rest of the volume if
exactly.
they cover it up to there. So yeah, you're exactly right.
So if they do that, it's going to be a little bit slower paced, which I guess, I mean, I definitely don't mind it, but it is going to be slower paced than these first couple episodes.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe there's a chance like a lot of the stuff that was cut out from the previous episodes will be in the next one.
That actually would be pretty nice. One thing that I like, the only thing so far that I've been pretty upset about them not having or kind of skipping was when Gabby and Reiner, they're kind of out walking, the two of them, and Gabby like is telling Reiner that after she has proven herself and become the next armored titan, she will be able to understand him, and like even the things that are too like painful to talk about. If you
Right.
remember, there's a scene like that in the manga, which they cut. That's like the only one I'm kind of sad they didn't do, but I guess it's still technically possible for them to bring that in at a later time, potentially.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see that because it opens up the dialogue between Gabby and Reiner, helps us understand their relationship more.
Right.
That just from like an anime perspective. On that same note, I would have wanted to see. I know I said I don't really care too much about Falco, and now I'm kind of going back on that. But I would have really liked to see the moment, like when Gabby notices that he keeps looking over at her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then she's like, "Why do you keep looking at me?" And then she says like she's gonna report him for
Uh,
possibly being anti Marley. And I was like, I would have loved to see that because that's a really funny interaction between those two.
it is. Oh, it's so funny and it's so wholesome. Like it's so sweet. I really like that, and because she's just too oblivious to understand that.
Right, right. And she's always given Falco crap as it is. So it's like
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I would also really like to see that happen to some in some way. Like, I guess it's possible that it could happen during the festival, like for them to throw in something like that.
yeah, I could see that. I could see, and then that's just goes back to them reshuffling the events a little bit to keep us on our toes.
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would actually really enjoy that. And it seemed actually like from the preview that we got at the end of this episode, it seems like Porco and Peak are going to be on the festival too.
Interesting. Okay.
It looked like that, like just from a brief little shot from the preview there.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, maybe with that they'll flesh the episode out a little bit more somehow.
Right, right.
Should be
Definitely. I mean, I'm definitely excited for the moment when Reiner actually meets Eren, because
yes.
that's gonna like really set everything into motion for this season
Uh-huh.
that we've been waiting for. But I agree. I'm so excited to also see like Willie Tabur's speech, and then the Warriors getting ready for that event and that festival.
Totally. Yeah, there's so many good things ahead, like here. Like, because
For real.
I'm actually curious about something though, because I mean, we know that they've the new anime team, we know that they've already changed the order of things here and there, and kind of change the structure in various ways. And I wonder if they would actually like basically in the manga, we have Reiner's and Eren's conversation in the cellar going on at the same time as Wooly Tiber's speech.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was thinking, I mean, I actually hadn't thought of it until just now, so maybe this is like a really weird thing. But anyway, I was wondering if maybe they would in the anime kind of make those separate somehow, like so you have like a longer portion of Wooly's speech without being interrupted by Reiner and Eren in the basement, and vice versa. Like, so they each get a little bit more focus at a time, sort of, maybe.
Yeah. I can see that, and I think it would work a little bit better.
Mm.
'Cause I think when you're reading it in the manga, it kind of has that effect that you're saying, where you spend a lot of time with each individual one before switching.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do it in the anime where it's too much back and forth, it might not achieve the feeling that it needs to.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that might be a thing as well. And also, although this is purely as a non-Japanese speaker reading the subtitles, it's gonna be hard to keep up with like several conversations at a time.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that.
But
I usually watch dub, to be honest.
all
So
right,
this is my first time watching it in sub because I'm that loyal of a fan. I'm gonna do it anyway.
gotcha. Actually, I do like the Attack on Titan dub, like the English dub. And in a way, I'm not saying I prefer it because I think generally I prefer the Japanese voice cast, but I really
Yeah,
like the English one as well. And in some kind of meta way, another reason why I like the English ones is because it's because the English language is more reminiscent of, I guess, the language that these characters would speak. Because I feel like they would speak some kind of like German or something similar to German,
yeah,
based on like I guess the cultural kind of references that we have gotten to know throughout the series. So
definitely,
assuming the characters actually speak German, English is much closer to that than Japanese is. So in that way, it feels a little closer to canon, I guess.
definitely. No, it would feel more natural when if it's like just English.
Right. Yeah.
And also I don't mean that in any like biased way, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally see. Yeah.
um, all right, there was one moment I wanted to talk about in particular. I just didn't want to say it while we were doing anime only.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
It goes back to the Eren and Falco scene when they're talking on the bench. Did you notice the tree branch that was behind them?
I No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so if you go back into that scene when
Right.
Eren and Falco are talking on the bench at the hospital, there's actually a tree that's like directly behind them, and the shadow gets casted and everything. So it's like really, really good imagery. But there are no leaves on the trees, and it's very reminiscent to like that tree that's in Paths where
Oh,
Ymir is. Yeah, I'm like,
interesting.
oh shoot.
I'm definitely gonna want to rewatch this episode again now. Have a look at that. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I guess you'd never know for sure, but it feels like that could definitely have been like an intentional thing. Uh, Definitely interesting. And I mean, there's been a lot of like tree imagery throughout.
Right, right. Birds.
Birds and trees. Birds.
Yeah, like I was so surprised to see them do that. And but I guess now that I think about it, it's like the way the season's going, it's only been 3 episodes, but we've seen so much little hints at what's to come. Like that even wasn't in the manga when we were reading it. Like Falco's
Yeah.
dialogue when he wakes up from his dream, and just little things like that that really point towards what's to come. And
Right.
if you know the information that we know, it almost seems like a spoiler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was so. Yeah, that was really interesting that they added that thing for Falco where he said like he was flying around with a sword and fighting titans,
Mhm.
which actually I think I misread that or kind of misinterpreted that the first time because I thought, or the way I interpreted it, knowing that he would become this flying titan, uh, I thought like maybe he's gonna fly around as his titan and somehow he's gonna have a sword in his hand or something as that
Yeah, no,
titan.
I thought some crazy stuff like that too. You're not alone.
Right. And which I mean, I guess it's possible that could be actually what it was meaning, but then I can't remember. Someone pointed out the idea that it was him kind of reliving the memories of Ymir, who was a previous um, Jaw Titan, and
Right.
flying around is the ODM gear, and the swords are obviously the swords that the scouts and well all of the military use on parody. Uh, I mean, I guess so. I guess that's more a more reasonable explanation, possibly. Uh,
Yeah, I think it definitely would make sense that it's ODM gear that they're referring to.
mm.
But like you said, it is not out of the question for what it actually means because we know what Falco actually becomes.
Right. Yeah, and that was interesting too. I mean, that was a pretty big thing as well. Just the fact that it seems like not just with the Attack Titan, but every Titan kind of has the potential of receiving memories from previous shifters even before they become that Titan.
Yeah, I remember I asked a question about that on Discord because that was something like my friends were kind of giving me crap about too. Because it's like, all right, I understand the Attack Titan can see future memories,
Uh-huh.
but how can someone use that power if they don't have the Attack Titan yet? And I'm like, that's a pretty valid argument to make.
Right.
But I kind of saw it the more the way you said it when you responded was like it's sort of like the Titan can almost reach out to the future inheritors and send them the memories. And whether that's through the Attack Titan itself or Ymir in paths or something, we still don't know, but it's definitely a possibility.
Right. Yeah, because it seems because I thought initially that it was unique for the Attack Titan due to its time, like it's weird time shenanigans, kind of.
Exactly. It seems like only the Attack Titan should be able to do that.
Right. Yeah. But now it seems like it's a possibility for any Titan shifter potentially.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was definitely an interesting reveal.
definitely. What do you think's gonna happen in the next chapter?
Oh, next. Oh, in the manga.
Yeah.
Ooh. I I think they're gonna. Oof. Well, so we got Peak and Armin.
Loaded question, as
Yeah,
Irvin would say.
you kind of caught me on the spot there. Let's see. So we got Peak and Armin are sort of stuck on Eren,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Poor Peak.
yeah, and poor Armin too.
I know, right? He's got it a little bit worse, right?
Honestly, I think so. Because I feel like so when we saw Peak's like her Titan got pierced kind of through the chest. So it looks like Peak is all right. Like her human body seems to be all right. Because she would have been residing in the nape. So if the chest was pierced with the tridents, then Peak herself should be fine.
Yeah. I think she's just hurt and injured. I don't think she's actually dead.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah. Man, I'm really at a loss because this most recent chapter, obviously, I think threw pretty much everyone off guard.
Tell me about it. I didn't know
So
we were gonna get Titans of the past. Like that was
yeah.
nowhere. I had just did a video or a podcast episode like how might Attack on Titan end,
Oh
and
yeah.
then that chapter came out and threw all my theories out the window. I'm like, damn it.
Oh yeah. So basically, knowing now, even this late in the story, how like how much Isayama can subvert our expectations. It's so hard to predict the story at this point. But I think that the rest of the alliance, now on Falco's back, they're going to fly back into the action. I guess they're gonna come up with some. I don't even know if they're gonna come up with something because I don't see how they would or who would come up with anything like that because I feel like most
Yeah,
of
they don't have Armin.
they don't have Armin. Exactly. They don't have Armin. They don't obviously they don't have Hanji either. Like so all of the strategists are kind of goners. Actually, something I'm hoping for is for Jean to get more of a like for him to be able to take a little bit more of a leadership role in this instance right here.
Yeah.
I think
I
that would
would
be
like to see that too because it's like a natural progression for his character to eventually do that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's something that I guess I'll predict that. But I guess it's more so of just a wish than a prediction. But yeah. Uh, and
Okay,
I think
nice.
they're gonna somehow deal with Eren and try to stop him and try to help Armin and Peak in some way.
Yeah.
Um, I guess it's also possible that, and we talked a little bit about this on Titan Tea Time, the possibility of Armin somehow managing to transform into Titan, even though he's wrapped up in that tongue, and and
Okay.
and thus freeing himself, kind of, by just blasting up into his colossal form right there. But I don't know. It feels like Ymir is pretty thorough with him right now, so she probably is like, yeah, she probably wouldn't allow him to be able to do that at this point.
Yeah, it seems like she's doing whatever she can to like watch Eren's back and not let them
Mhm.
stop him or anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm still really, I don't really have an answer for like what's actually going on either, because it's like we still have so much we don't know as far as paths, how they work, what is Ymir's like actual motivation, and
Yeah.
what is it that she wants? What is Eren's? I mean, we know his a little bit more, but like what's actually going on in his head, and why was it that he did so many things in the chapters leading up to this, like the instance with Mikasa telling her that he hated her and fighting Armin. Like we
Yeah.
still need a lot of that to get answered.
We really do.
Because I'm still confused about that. Like I love Eren, but I'm like I don't know. Whenever people ask me like why he did that, I'm like he probably just wanted them to stay over there while he did what he was gonna do, and he didn't want them to be in the way. Because as we see now, when he brought them into pass, he had to tell them like, all right, I'm not gonna take your freedom away, but if we both keep moving forward, we're gonna have to fight.
Yeah.
And maybe deep down he didn't want that to be the outcome, because
Yeah.
he actually did care about his friends. So that's just my opinion. But
Yeah.
I
No,
still I need to know. I need to know.
and I agree with you. Like he definitely, I definitely don't think he would have wanted to have to clash with them, but I think it's more important to him to bring freedom to his people than it is
Right.
to, I guess, like, even though, I mean, obviously he cherishes his friends like a lot, but
Of course.
somehow I think the thing most important to him right now is like, after all, is to rumble the world, and because he sees that as the only solution to bringing freedom to his people.
Right. Yeah, exactly. To him, that's the bigger picture, I guess, for lack of
Right.
a
Yeah.
better term.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah. It's like what what King Fritz did was a temporary solution to a permanent problem.
I like that. No, that's a really nice way to put it.
But Eren right now, he tries to find a permanent solution to it, and for like once and for all, make it good, at least for the people who are left in the world, which is like
Yeah.
a small fraction. Ah, it's such such a weird situation, but yeah.
He's playing for keeps. That's what it is. Good old Eren.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I do love him as a character. I really do.
Yeah, and just seeing how far he's come
Uh huh.
since the beginning, and everybody. I mean, Reiner, Annie, everybody,
Right.
Armin, Mikasa. Like I love all the characters in Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I really do.
Even the ones I hate, I still love them.
Right,
You
exactly.
know?
They're awful. They're like mean, awful characters, but they're so well written. They're so interesting.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so I mean that pretty much is all I've got. Unless there's anything you want to add before we start wrapping up.
Um, I'm not sure. I think I've said most of what I wanted to say. I want to thank you though for bringing me on here. I had a lot of fun talking about the manga and the anime today.
Of course, yeah, yeah. No, thank you for coming on and being a guest. Like it was awesome getting to hear your thoughts. Like I said, in live action, like me actually being able to talk with you.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Because you should see me, bro. When I'm listening to Titan Tea Time, and I'll hear you and James say something like, I'll just start talking out loud, like as if I'm talking to you guys.
Nice.
And then occasionally, that's why I'm really happy I'm in the Discord, because I can actually, reach out to you guys.
Right. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun having you around there, and yeah, it's like, this is for anyone listening who's curious. This is the first time that Nasty and I are ever like really talking like vocally. Uh,
Right, right.
I don't know. For me, it's felt really natural. Like, I've had a lot of fun. It felt good.
Agreed, agreed. And I appreciate you coming on. I want to thank everybody else and our viewers for listening, whether you were viewing live or you got to see this on the repeat. I'm going to definitely have much more Attack on Titan content coming as season 4 continues and both manga and anime start to heat up. But if you enjoy me talking about Attack on Titan and you enjoy listening to this content, you're definitely going to enjoy listening to Petter and James talk about it on their show. So make sure you go check out Titan Tea Time. It's on pretty much all the platforms that my podcast is on. And Petter, I'll let you do another plug for your channel if you'd like, because I know you're doing some revamps for it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I guess I can touch on that real quick. So on Umami Manga is on YouTube. We call it Umami Manga is the YouTube channel that Titan Tea Time exists on, that we upload monthly. And on there, we also recently actually we started the beginning of this month. We started a Kaguya-sama Love is War manga discussion podcast where
Another
we
great anime and manga.
yeah, oh, it's so good. Very different from Attack on Titan though.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about it.
But yeah, it's that one's also me and James, so it's the same two people, and we are making our way through the Kaguya-sama manga one volume at a time, basically. And the plan with that one is to make actually 3 discussions per month, so it's a bit faster paced than Titan Tea Time is. So yeah,
Nice,
and
nice.
we might expand on the channel a little bit more in the future, talking about other manga series as well.
Yeah, definitely keep up the great work. I'm excited to see your channel continue to grow and reach new heights.
Thank you.
You do a great job with everything, even the music, everything. Like I'm so happy that I got to have this dialogue with you. But thanks so much for being a guest tonight. It was an absolute pleasure having you on.
It was a pleasure to be on. Really, thank you for having me.
Of course, we're gonna have to get James on here or something in the
Yeah,
near
totally.
future. You gotta have to put in the good word for me.
I definitely will. I promise.
But yeah, again, thanks for joining us. You're welcome back anytime here, and I hope you have a happy holidays.
Thank you.
To the viewers, I also wish you all happy holidays. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay woke. And we're gonna get out of here. Peace out.
Bye.